there's a different way of fixing homosexuals. In Uganda, we have, and in most of Africa, I don't know if it's also in the West, we have curative or corrective rape. I think that is what is the biggest thing that is there to cure people of homosexuality. And it doesn't matter. Today, they've started raping gay men to fix them. For them, it is punitive. They're punishing them. For lesbians or women and effeminate men, they're saying, no, we want to show you that this, you've just not experienced this, so we will teach you. And the unfortunate thing is that sometimes, most of the time, it comes through family. Family is looking out for somebody who can come and fix you, your doctor. And so they rape you to correct you. A lot of us have gone through these things in the name of correcting us.
Can you explain that situation where you went to a Pentecostal, I guess it's a crusade with over 1,000 people?
Yeah.
What happened in that situation?
For me, seeking healing from the Catholic Church when it failed, because I realized that none of the prayers we had to recite addressed the issue of homosexuality. In fact, the Catholic Church just had to hear a prayer where you'll be addressing your real problem. It's uniform prayer for everything. And I really felt that I needed to talk to God directly about what my problem was, because I knew it was a problem, because it caused me a lot of trouble, my sexual orientation. And so I realized that in the Pentecostal Church, you're free to talk to God in your own language, in your own way, and wherever you are. But I felt that I needed that guidance through this healing. And so I went and sought help from different pastors. I moved from church to church. In most of the churches, of course, yeah, I was abused, but not so much. But this particular church, when I got there, it was a healing crusade. And this pastor, of course, was told what my problem was, and I was willing to go through it because, yes, I wanted to be healed. I was fed up of living like that. And so what happened is that he called me up and they started praying for me. There were other people that made an altar call, and other people came. And then at some point, he picked me out of the big group that had come in front. And he got me onto the stage. And he said, God is healing this girl. This girl has been confused. First, before the crusade, I had met him at his office. He said he was seeing a lion inside me. He said he was seeing a male spirit inside me that came from the Indian Ocean. He explained some things about the Indian Ocean, and that this spirit was a boy dressed in a checked shirt, which I didn't have at all, and that's what's making me behave this way, like a man, and be in love or get attracted to other women. And so at the crusade, he knew me already, and he picked me out, put me on the, what do you call that, like a stage, because they just built something, it was temporary. And then he started to pray for me. And these other boys, the one that they were called intercessors, they also joined the prayer. He told everybody, let us pray for the spirit to come out, because Juliet, because I was Juliet then, Juliet has a lot of influence on young people. Juliet is a leader. If Juliet is healed, all our children are going to be healed. Because the spell came from some other DJ, and the one of homosexuality came on Victor, and Victor carries it. And so they prayed, and at some point I realized I was down. But I did not stop thinking. I knew what was happening. Exactly, I knew what was going on around me. And so while I was down, he laid his hands on me, and then he asked all the other boys to lay their hands on me, and they started to pray, again, chasing out this spirit and uprooting this and that and that. And then at some point, he started to strip me, take off my clothes one by one. And so I started to fight so that they don't do this. I guess I need the prayer, I need the healing, but I don't want to be naked here. But I kept fighting, and the pastor told the boys, that's the demon. The demon doesn't want to let go of this. He called me something that was like a house. I was like a house for this demon. And so he said, just go on. It is time for deliverance for Juliet. And so the boys were laying hands all over me, others on my genitals, because that was also another center where it was all settled, that demon, because, sex and all these things. And one by one of my clothes, they took off, including my shoes. And there was a fire. He makes a fire when he's having those crusades. So even for the lame people, he says, out of faith, throw your stick there. You'll be healed. You're going to walk again. So he had thrown things, several things there, sticks, a lot of things that he thinks are evil from people's bodies and, accessories. And then for me, all my clothes, whichever they took off, they threw there. And I kept fighting, but they were overpowering me because these are guys and they were very strong. And then at some point, it was only my vest left. They took that too, and I wasn't yet using the proper binders for my breasts. So I used to tie my breasts with either belts or cloth that I would make for myself to keep them flat on my chest. And so I remained like that. And he thought that this was something that was carrying something evil, because in Africa, in African culture, they've turned what we used to believe in before has turned into evil. Religion has turned that into evil. So people have various things. They might have something like this, and it has some power in it, something that Africans should respect because that is where we come from, but it has become evil according to religion. So when he saw this thing around my breasts, he thought that is where everything was. They took it off too and threw it in that fire. And then they got something we call a kanga. It's like a sheet, it's like kind of like a bed sheet, and then they covered me with it. And by that time, I had lost all my energy, so I remained down there. And they praised Jesus. He told the congregation to praise Jesus because the demon of homosexuality had left, and I was healed, and the children were going to be healed. And then some ladies came with blouses and a skirt and open shoes, and that is how I left that crusade. And they locked me up in some guest house because they believed that if I went back to the communities, the lesbian community, I would pick up that thing again. They said I was still a weak Christian and I was not ready for that kind of thing. Yeah, I was abused, but I did not even realize then that it was serious abuse. But yeah, I know that I was abused in that church.